A very good afternoon to one and all. I'm Ruby Gill with great joy and immense pleasure welcome you all on the behalf of Lovely Professional University for today's webinar on the topic Limitless Opportunities After COVID Post-Graduation in Pharmaceutical Sciences at LPU. But before we commence, I would like to introduce our speakers of the day. I consider it great honor to welcome the epitome of wisdom and intellect, Dr. Monica Gulati, Executive Dean, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Registrar, Lovely Professional University. She has been very instrumental in research when it comes to education. Having completed her B Pharmacy and Pharmacy and PhD from UIPS Punjab University, Chandigarh, Dr. Gulati have more than 25 years of teaching, industry, research, and administrative experience. Her research forte is enhancing bioperformance of drug molecules, phytochemicals, and probiotics, metabiotics, and other therapeutics using conventional and other novel dosage forms, especially in the area of clone targeting. She holds a keen interest in the quality control parameters of delivering systems. She has, to her credit, more than 150 high-impact publications, 15 invited book chapters with an H index of 28 and RG score of 39.43. She has been granted 4 Indian patents and 3 Australian patents as well. She is proud member of so many journals as editorial board member and review board member. So thank you so much, ma'am. It's a privilege to have you on board with us today. Thank you for joining us. In addition, we have our admission expert, Mr. Pankaj Vij, Assistant Director, Head, Department of Tie-Ups, Division of Admissions, Lovely Professional University. He holds a master's degree in management with a keen interest in area of training and development. He is having an experience of more than 20 years in multiple domains, including teaching, training, and operations. He has occupied strategic positions in multiple organizations of repute. So today, he'll discuss about fee structure, eligibility, scholarship, and infrastructure of the university. So students, attendees, be with us till the end of the session because after hearing him, you'll be saving a lot of money. Trust me. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. So with this, we'll begin the today's session. So over to you, Dr. Monica Gulati, for the content of the day.
Thank you, Ruby. I think, Ruby, my screen is visible.
It was earlier, ma'am, but now we can't see it.
Now is it all right?
Not yet, ma'am.
Now?
No, ma'am. We are unable to see the presentation.
Let me see. Beta, I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please give me the rights again?
All right, ma'am.
Because I can't see that option also.
All right, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is it all right now?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible now.
Is it in full screen mode now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So, dear friends, today I am here to discuss about the various opportunities uh, available to the students who are going to take admissions in the post-graduation courses in pharma sciences. So for you, I take it that half the job is already done. You have already completed your bachelor's in pharmacy. As you know, because of the uh, directions from the Pharmacy Council of India, only the students, only those graduates who have completed their bachelor's in pharmacy are eligible for their master's in pharmacy. There is no kind of, across the discipline kind of transfer. So the people who have already done their bachelor's will now be looking for their admissions into master's and, might be wondering what kind of opportunities would be available after the completion of masters and what is the advantage of doing the masters after bachelor's and so on. So let us now start with the various specializations which are available for masters. Now first of all, children, I would like to share with you that earlier, say about 5 years back, masters in pharmacy was not governed by the Pharmacy Council, but looking at the scenario, wherein the drug regulatory affairs needed to become much more stringent because of the malpractices which were existing in the society and even by the professionals, the masters were also taken under the umbrella of PCI. So initially, till about 5 to 6 years back, it was only diploma in pharmacy and bachelor's in pharmacy, which were under the purview of power of PCI. Masters was not. But then masters was also taken under the umbrella by the Pharmacy Council. So according to Pharmacy Council, we have a number of options in which the master's degree is available. One more word of caution here. There are a few courses by the name of MSc in Pharmaceutical Sciences or MSc in, Pharmacoeconomics or MSc in Pharmacovigilance, etc., which are being imparted by certain organizations, certain universities, certain teaching institutes. Please mind it that they are not considered equivalent to masters in pharmacy when you will be applying either for a license to practice, or you will be applying for the teaching jobs, or you will be applying for the research jobs. Because in case of pharmacy, in case of masters in pharmacy M.Pharm, when you apply for either pure research institutes, it is considered as equivalent to MTech or MBBS. MSc is not. So there is a difference between the grades. When you are applying for teaching jobs, if you've done your MScs, you are not eligible to teach bachelor's. So I would just like to caution you that when you are going to take admission, please make sure, number one, that the degree which is being offered is as per the PCI norms. Second thing, the institute is recognized by the Pharmacy Council of India. Otherwise, again the same problems, you will neither get a license to practice, you will not get a license to open the chemist shop, you will not be eligible for teaching and so on. So now coming back to the main discussion of today. Well, like most of the other courses of Masters of Pharmacy course is also of 2 years. And when we talk of, and as you can see, this seal as it indicates, all the 5 courses are recognized by the Pharmacy Council of India. And then we'll now take up one by one what are the courses and what is generally taught in these courses and what are generally the options available. Let me first, children, share it with you that most of the options are available to most of the streams. So there would be very few options which would be completely exclusive to a particular branch. So if there are 20 options available. Out of these 20 options, almost you see 15, 16 would be open to all the masters. There would be 3, 4 which would be exclusive to that particular domain. So let us get started now. So first of all, we'll talk about the basic art of creation of the drugs. So masters in pharmacy in pharmaceutical chemistry. So as you understand, all the people who have already done their bachelors or who are even trying to enter into bachelors would already have had an extensive exposure to the science of chemistry. So pharmaceutical chemistry is basically an amalgamation. It is a mixture of or a combination of life sciences and that of chemistry. So you see, it becomes a interdisciplinary kind of field wherein you are also taught the principles of chemistry and also taught the principles of life sciences, right? And then generally people think that when it is pharmaceutical chemistry, we are mainly limited to synthetic molecules. No, we are not. The natural molecules also, which are extracted from the herbal drugs or from the earth or from the animal drugs, their chemical composition again falls under the purview of M-Pharm pharmachemistry only. So the analysis of the drugs which are extracted from the plants, how do they behave, what are going to be their characteristics, their solubility, and so on. This, of course, apart from the general image, wherein we see that all the synthetic drugs which are not from natural origin, and most of the drugs which are currently used are of synthetic origin. They are synthesized by the experts who have expertise in the pharmaceutical chemistry, right? Then apart from the synthesis part, they are also taught the computational chemistry and the analytical chemistry. Now, when we talk of computational chemistry, everywhere it is the era of simulation. We have almost everything first being done on the computers and then being done in the real life. So same thing happens with the pharma industry also. So whenever we create a new drug, because you see, creating a new drug involves a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money also. So when we synthesize a molecule, it is what is generally done is first the structure is created on the computers and we have a full stream of an independent stream of pharmaceutical chemistry which is known as the computer aided drug design. Computer aided drug design. So first the structure is created on the computer. Then if it is an anti-diabetic drug, we will bring the receptors again simulated. The receptors will be created and then the matching will be done whether it does it enter the receptors, is it going to work there or not. So computer aided drug design is a science in itself which is generally done these days before we put any drug even into preclinical testing. Earlier, we used to think of safeguarding the humans by first doing the animal testing during the preclinical phase. But now, before that, also before actually trying to synthesize it in lab, just in order to save money and save time and save the efforts, first it is created on a computer. A group of drugs are chemical structures are created and then the one which is found to fit the best into the receptor, those molecules are taken up and then the efforts are streamlined towards those molecules only. Then of course we have analytical chemistry, which is again very important because when you have created a molecule or you have extracted a molecule, you need to analyze the molecule, whether it actually has that structure. And then, there are so many other analysis to be done, whether it will be released in the body or not, whether it will be reaching the organ where it is required or not, and so on. So that all that science is taught under the purview of pharmaceutical analytical chemistry, right? So as I was sharing with you, natural products is in itself a huge area from where we extract the drug. So what is generally done is if there is a drug which is extracted from the plants, right? We will try to match its structure with the synthetic drugs also. If it is very effective, very good. If it is not so effective, we try to manipulate that molecule also. Maybe, hydroxy group is changed, or carboxy group is changed, or so on. So what is done is there could be a change in the structure of the drugs which are obtained from natural materials also to make them more effective. So all these things are taught in the discipline of pharmaceutical chemistry. So let us now have a look at the career prospects which are available to the people who have completed their masters or their PhD in pharmacochemistry. So first, as we discussed just a few moments back, they can join as synthetic chemists. Now, synthetic chemists are those people who, as the name suggests itself, it is very, very clear, who are into synthesis of the molecule. This could be new molecules, it could be old molecule being converted into new one, or we could even be reducing the number of steps. We could be reducing the entire cost of the production of that particular chemical. So synthetic chemists are those people who are generally involved in the synthesis of the molecules, whether new or old also. Then the second option, again as we discussed, is that of analytical chemist. As I shared with you, once the drugs are created, the drugs are to be put into the market for human use. Before that, a thorough analysis of the drugs must be done, because here we are playing with the health of the people. So analytical chemist, what he does is he tries to find out whether the drug which is there in the dosage form which is going eventually to the patients, is the quality ensured. So an analytical chemist will apply all the techniques to analyze the drug per se, how much is there, how will it get released, when will it get released, when will how much of the drug get released, and so on. So analytical chemists need to be very strong in the instrumentation part. Like synthetic chemist needs to be very, very strong in the basic chemistry of reactions. And analytical chemist needs to be very, very well versed with the instrumentation. Next option is process scientist. Now, process scientist is somebody who will, support both these people, synthetic as well as analytical chemist. Now, synthetic chemists are following a process to create a drug. Similarly, analytical chemist is following a process to analyze the drug. The process scientist is the person who is going to shorten the work of these two. Shortening the work will also include time. It will also include money involved. Now, a process scientist will look at the procedures which are used by the synthetic chemist. For example, if a particular synthesis is being done by 5 steps, the process scientist will apply all his mind and energy to reduce it to a 3-step reaction, or 2-step reaction, or a single step reaction, so that it saves you a lot of time and energy, and the efforts of the scientist also. So that is what the process scientists do. They modify the processes, they create the processes by which we are going to synthesize and analyze the drugs. Then research scientist would be common to all, because after the completion of every master's degree, you become eligible to apply for research. Here I will like to share with my bachelor friends that after B Pharm you cannot enter the area of research and development, because it is a mandate that the joinees must be at least masters in pharmacy. Therefore, after the completion of your masters, you can join as a research scientist. Before you complete your masters, you cannot join as research scientist. Then they find a very good job prospect in bulk drug units. Now let me share with you the major difference most of you would already be knowing, that is there with the bulk drugs and the formulation drugs. In the bulk drugs, it is the powder which is going to, it is the pure drug. If For example, it is nimesulide, it is only nimesulide. It is not in the form of a tablet, capsule or anything. So therefore we call it a bulk drug. So in the bulk drug units also, bulk drug units of the industry or bulk drug synthesis even in R&D and so on. So in the bulk drug units, the pharmaceutical chemists, they find a very strong application. Then of course, after the completion of your masters, you can always go for PhD, which could be here also, which could be abroad also, and then eventually you can go for PDF also. Then regarding these two, you might be wondering why the rest are in black and these two are in blue. These two are blue because they belong to the public sector area. That means they are the government jobs. So there are, my friends, a number of organizations which are run by the government, which take care of various aspects of the drug and nutraceutical business. So there would be people who would be looking at the sales, there would be people who would be looking at the vigilance, there would be people who would be looking at licensing, and there would be people who would be looking at the quality of drugs. So all these people are termed as scientific officers initially, and they find application or they find jobs in the government sector. Similarly, you must have already heard of the job profile of drug inspector, one of the most glamorous kind of profiles, because they are constantly in touch with the public. So they are in the public domain, one thing. Second thing is they are the they take care of the entire business of entire business related to medicines. They are the people who are empowered by the government of the country as well as the government of the state to take care that there is no inferior quality or no inappropriate drug which goes to any of the patients. So the glamour is there because number one, they are considered as the protectors of public, because any kind of wrong practice, if it is going on either in industry or in wholesale or retail chemist shop, they will just immediately reach there and get the problem corrected. That is one aspect. Second aspect is they are so empowered for the life-saving drugs that mostly we consider them as the saviors, and we put them on a very high pedestal. So one of the very glamorous jobs in pharmacy. Then we come to the discipline of pharmaceutical analysis. As I shared with you earlier also, this basically handles the techniques and procedures. The techniques and procedures which are followed by the pharma industry to find out that the drug is in compliance with the regulatory instructions from the various governments. Now let me explain it a little further. You see, the government of each country has different terms and conditions for the manufacture or import of the drugs, sales of the drugs, export of the drugs, even labeling of the drugs, and so on. So there are different norms in different countries. Somewhere it is called something else, somewhere in another country it is called something else, and so on. So what is generally done is, for the regulatory agencies of various countries, they will not allow you to sell your drugs there unless and until you follow their norms. So the different regulatory agencies have different norms also, very obvious. So the pharmaceutical analysis people have to learn those norms also, and then see to it that the product which is being prepared in the industry, it matches those guidelines. It is able to match those guidelines. So since they are going to handle these kind of topics and these kind of works eventually, so they are taught regulatory affairs in detail, and regulatory affairs not of just our own country, but the countries wherein the India's presence is very strong, like US, like UK, like many African countries like Ghana, Nigeria, etc. Japan also to some extent. So they will learn the regulatory requirements for these countries, and as you can see, IPR also. So IPR, as you all know, is the intellectual property right. So these people who are undergoing the masters in pharmacy and farm analysis are also taught the finer nuances of patents, mainly patents, and of course, copyrights and design, etc. Then they are also taught the process validation, the stability, how are going to conduct the stability studies. Say for example, if a drug has been prepared by the synthetic chemist, somebody needs to check whether it will be stable after 6 months or 1 year, or it will get degraded in the atmosphere only. So for that, they are also taught about the various requirements of stability studies all over the world. There is a certain set of regulations which are applicable to, the stability studies conduct all over the world. They are similar. So they are taught that also. Then, of course, they are taught about the quality assurance. Let me share the difference between quality assurance and quality control. Quality assurance is the process by which we ensure that the quality control is maintained. So you will see to it that the AC is working right. It will assure that the temperature is maintained properly. You will see to it that the weighing balance is working all right, so that whatever you or your friends weigh in that particular area, it should be ensured that they are working in the proper manner. You see, there is a very small example. We need to store a particular product at 25 degrees centigrade, right? Our intentions are correct. Quality control department will see that, there is not much difference in the strength, but if the atmospheric thermometer, environmental thermometer, which is there in the that particular lab or that particular store, is showing an error in the temperature, you will not be able to store it at 25 degrees, because there is an error of 3 degrees, say. So actual temperature is 28, but it is showing as 25. So here comes the role of quality assurance. The quality assurance personnel will go to every room and see to it that, every procedure is properly taking place. And then, of course, they will be taught, the pharmaceutical analysis people will be taught all the sophisticated instruments, like all the modern bioanalytical techniques, so that, he or she is very well versed with the handling of these equipments and can get you the right kind of result. Then we talk of the career prospects of these people who complete their masters in pharmaceutical analysis. So as we have already discussed, he or she can become an analytical chemist in an industry wherein the job would be mainly focused on the performance of the drugs, right? He or she can also become quality assurance manager and quality control manager. Let me here share the difference between the two parameters, that is quality assurance and quality control. Now, dear friends, quality control becomes applicable when the product is already prepared. So we will take the product, check its various characteristics and tell whether it is all right or not. And if it is not all right, if it is lacking in some quality, then we would not be able to sell it in the market. Therefore, it was thought, why not to have something in between also, because of which the quality assurance teams, they started coming. Quality control people will look at the end product. Quality assurance people will look at the procedures, whether they are being performed properly or not. Then we have the option of bioanalytical scientist. Now, bioanalytical is different from the analytical chemist. When it is an analytical chemist, he or she is supposed to measure the various characteristics of the drug in the form of either, the pure drug or the formulation types of drugs. When we talk of bioanalytical scientists, they will work on the plasma samples or blood samples or saliva samples and so on. You can see the word bio has been attached initially. So they will try to measure whether the, say if the drug was supposed to reach the liver, how much of it has reached the liver. So he or she should know how to take samples from the liver. They should know how to remove the interfering materials which have come from the liver, in the blood, in the serum, in the plasma, and so on. So bioanalytical scientist is another opportunity which would be possible for the people who do their pharma analysis. Then, of course, we have openings in research and academic institutions. You can become a teacher like me, or you can enter as a researcher in the academic institutes, or you can enter into research for the research organizations also. That is another possibility. And then finally, you have also a role as regulatory affair officer, because you need, if any company is supplying to other countries, even in our own country, we have a lot of documentation to be done, which would be easier, which would become easier if the regulatory affairs people are there. Then we talk of the government jobs. They are the same as I shared with in the previous slide about pharmaceutical chemistry. So for pharma analysis also, these options are available. Then children, we come to pharmaceutics. Now this is what people call as the pure pharma sciences. People say that pharmaceutics is the branch which is pure pharma sciences, because for this you need the information about all the subjects, but it is not neither very close to biology, it is nor very close to chemistry, nor very close to engineering. So it is a branch in itself. In this, what is generally taught is how to prepare, how to convert a pure drug into its effective, safe, attractive, convenient dosage form. I am giving you an example. Say if we have a particular drug, say like cetirizine, right, which is to be administered in the dose of 5 mg, it cannot be administered as such 5 mg low or utha ke khila do. It is not possible. So we convert cetirizine into its tablets or into its capsules or into its injections or other dosage forms, inhalers also. So when we create a formulation or dosage form in which the drug is added, so that it can be safely administered, it remains inside the body in the safe manner, right? It can be convenient. Convenient means it can be gulped down, it can be carried along, and so on, right? So all these things fall under the purview of pharmaceutics. Now the career options which are available to the people who complete their masters in pharmaceutics. See, it is slightly different here. We have manufacturing chemist. So here the manufacturing chemist means the person who is manufacturing the tablets, who is manufacturing the granules, who is manufacturing the capsules, and so on. So manufacturing chemist here means manufacture of the various kinds of formulations or dosage form. Then production, very similar. You are into creation of larger number of drugs. Then you have another very important option available, which has a lot of salary being offered. This is one of the career option wherein maximum salaries are being offered to the students. Now KPO stands for Knowledge Processing Organization. So what these people will do is they will collect the data from the entire world, and whatever you tell you to do with that data, say for example, there is a company which wants to launch an anti-diabetic drug. So what it will do is it will give its work to KPO, tell them to find out which are the drugs for diabetes which are already available across the world, what are their side effects, how long they are to be taken, is there any kind of inconvenience with their administration? If yes, what is it, and so on. So the entire data is collected from the entire world. And then what is done? It is looked at, a summary is created, summary is looked at, and then what happens? They will prepare a summary sheet wherein they will say that this is the drug available, this costs this much, this has these side effects, these are the difficulties in manufacturing, these are the difficulties in convincing the doctors or convincing the patients and so on. So that is the job of KPOs. Then another job which is very exclusive to pharmaceutics people is that of GMP. GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practices. So it is again a part of quality assurance. It is felt that if the GMP or the good manufacturing practices are followed all the time, there would be no chances of failure in the quality control. Because if your processes are all right, your final product has to be all right. So GMP will maintain certain conditions for like cleanliness, placement of the equipment, the requirements for the personnel, what kind of gown should they wear, what kind of hair, retention mechanism caps should be there, where should they wear the gloves and so on, what should be the, placement of the equipment inside the lab, how the personnel should move, what is the hygiene practices that the personnel need to follow and so on. So GMP is another area wherein the pharmaceutics people find a lot of jobs. Then this is the similar, as I told earlier, research and academic institutions. You can become a teacher of pharmaceutics like me, or you can enter into the research institutes. And then of course, formulation development is a very, very important area because it is only the pharmaceutics people who are taught to develop the formulation. So formulation development, they will give you the drug, the company will give you the drug and tell you to prepare an injection. So which is the solvent to be added, does the drug remain safe in that particular solvent or it degrades, or when that particular solvent is injected in the body, is it safe, is it convenient, is it not unhealthy and so on. So formulation development is another strong area. And then about scientific officer and drug inspector, I've already shared. These are the government job options. Just a moment. Then we come to another very interesting area of pharmacology. Now, this is my experience of last 30 years that most of the students, they get fascinated by pharmacology because once they start learning the pharmacology, they feel empowered that they know what a drug is going to do to the human body. So when they see the strips at their home, when the people start asking, we have fever, should we take paracetamol and so on. So it kind of, it is a little more glamorous than the rest of the branches. So pharmacology deals with the effects of the drugs. And before we put anything in the market for clinical trials or clinical trials or sales, even before clinical trials, just to safeguard the health of the people, we first conduct the preclinical trials. So preclinical trials means we are testing the drug in the animals, right? So initially it was only the effects of the drugs in the animals. So people, children learn how to handle the rats, how to handle the rabbits and so on. And then how to inject them, how to give them the dose and how to take care of them also. But beyond that, till say I was learning, it was mainly focused to this, but now we have gone more deep also. We are now learning the molecular mechanisms also. If it is decreasing the blood pressure, why so? So they now also need to learn the cellular and molecular pharmacology. What is happening inside the body? What is happening inside the receptors of those drugs? What is happening inside the blood? What is happening inside the liver? What is happening inside the pancreas? So we are going now to a much deeper level. So you will also understand if there is a decrease in temperature, if there is a decrease in heartbeat, if there is a decrease in blood pressure, why is it so? So all these things are now being taught to the people, the children who are learning pharmacology. And then there are a few peripheral areas also like pharmacovigilance, right? creation of the models, right? And since they are handling the data, so they also need to be good at the data analysis or data analytics. So you see, finding out the side effects, expecting and extrapolating the side effects or the effects which were observed in the animal studies, then extrapolating those effects on the human beings, even taking care of those side effects which were not predicted or which could not be observed in the clinical trials. You know, when the drug is given to a larger number of patients, certain things come up which could not be observed in smaller or limited number of patients. So all these things are taught during the masters in pharmacology. And then what are the career prospects? So first thing, of course, is preclinical trials. Then pharmacovigilance, as I shared with you, any reporting of any adverse effect. It comes to, let me anyway share with you that we have a pharmacovigilance center established by the government of India in our university in the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences. So pharmacovigilance scientist is another option which is available to the people who do their masters in pharmacology. Then of course, you know, you can become a teacher. Then this has recently come into spotlight. You know, our country was, I can say with too much of pride, that our country was able to roll out the vaccine for COVID in a very, very short time based on the expertise of our pharmacologists. So vaccination development is another area which is open to the pharmacology people. Then IPR is of course applicable in all medical writing, since you know they are more well versed with the therapeutic effects and side effects of the uh, drugs. Therefore, they are better in medical writing, and they are generally, you know, especially those people who work like to go for desk job kind of things. No. Public dealing is there. So those kind of students who complete their masters in pharmacology, they like to enter into the medical writing area. Then of course, you know, you can go for your PhD. Another thing which is available to pharmacology master students is you can start your own CRO. CRO is Contract Research Organization. You take an approval from the government of India and then the state government and open a pharmacology lab wherein you can keep some animals and you know you can test the drugs prepared by various pharma industries. See, every pharma industry does not have an animal house because it is only limited number of organizations which are given approval for having an animal house with them, right? So they look for certain organizations which can do the animal studies for them, right? So you can you can become an entrepreneur and you can start your own CRO. For this, I will also like to share with you that we have an animal house, which is one of the best animal houses in this part of the country. It is approved by the CPCSCA. CPCSCA is the organization which takes care that you know there is no cruelty to animals during the experiments which are performed and so on, or during you know selling them and so on. And then we are having certain industry collaborated research projects also. And as I was sharing with you, we have a pharmacovigilance center. Recently we got approval for the materiovigilance center also. So this provides a lot of exposure about these new upcoming areas to our students. Then talking about the pharmacy practice M-Pharm. Pharmacy practice M-Pharm is the closest to the medical profession. So in this, you actually come in contact with the patients. Rather, it is a qualification which is going to make you a kind of bridge between the patient and the doctor. The doctor will prescribe the medicine, and you know the pharmacy practice person who's working in the hospital or whatever setting it is going to counsel the patient regarding the taking of the drug. At times what happens, since you have more knowledge of pharmacology because you have learned pharmacology in almost 6 years, while the doctors learn pharmacology only in 1 year. So at times what happens, your strength is more, and you can advise the doctors also, and you can advise the patients also to increase the efficiency of the therapy which is being administered to the patient. So they are also taught the communication skills, because when a patient comes to you, you need to communicate very precisely with him or her and with the doctor on the other side, so that the patient gets the maximum benefit. So they have a lot of application in community pharmacy also and in hospital pharmacy also. Patient counseling is one of the very important areas wherein the M.Pharm pharmacy practice people will find the job opportunities. Apart from that, you might have heard that no two drugs should be taken together. So the drugs interact with other drugs, the drugs interact with food also, the drugs interact with that time, the containers also, and so on. So all this falls under the purview of a pharmacy practice scientist. Another very important thing is the pharmacoeconomics part. So you see, we have our society is divided into various socio-economic uh, levels, I would say. Socioeconomic. So a person who is poor may not be able to afford a drug which is very costly and is ready to bear maybe some side effects. So we have say two options. There is a drug which costs you 1000 rupees per dose but has no side effects, but there is a drug which costs you only 10 rupees per dose but has will cause some nausea and vomiting. So you see, the person who is able to afford will go for the first option, the person who is not able to afford will go for the second option. So all this comes under the science of pharmacoeconomics, which is also taught to the pharmacy practice students. So career prospects, as I shared with you, the care management of patients falls under this. Again, since they are always interacting with doctors and patients, so their grip on the medical and scientific writing is generally better. So they generally, the children who complete their masters in pharmacy practice, they end up with very highly paying jobs in medical and scientific writing. Of course, they can join the academic institutes like ours as teaching faculty. Pharmacovigilance, I have already explained. They are hired as hospital pharmacists to ensure, particularly, those hospitals wherein we have the, apart from the OPD, we also have IPD. IPD means, where the patients are going to stay overnight and for longer periods, which are generally in the day-to-day language known as wards. So wherever there are inpatients, the patients who are staying in the hospital, we need to have some pharmacy practice people so that they can take care that, there is no hazardous practice being done. The administration of the drug is proper, it is at the proper time, it is with the proper food, it is at the proper condition, and so on. Then they can also enter into clinical trials. And of course, we have this option of medical transcription, wherein, the doctor is sitting in probably USA and you are sitting here, but through the internet, while the doctor speaks, the pharmacist writes everything, then the pharmacist is put in interaction with the patient. So based on the prescription of the doctor, the pharmacist counsels the patient completely. So with the, particularly, after COVID, wherein physical mode was almost not existing, so such practices are now flourishing, and the advantage is you get paid in dollars or euros. Right. So scientific officer and drug inspector we have already discussed. Then there is a very unique course of Ayurvedic pharmacy which is being offered at LPU. So herein you can, since you've heard me for last almost 40-45 minutes now, everything which is available in the masters till now we have discussed, everything related to Ayurvedic drugs is being taught in the M.Pharm Ayurveda. So it contains the subjects of drug manufacturing, analysis, basic subjects, GMP regulation, all these things which were taught in all the other specializations for Ayurvedic drugs are taught in M.Pharm Ayurveda. So opportunities also remain the same. Only thing is in the sector of the opportunities in the sector of Ayurvedic pharmacy and Ayurvedic medicine. So that's all from my side. I'll be happy to answer any questions if there are.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative presentation. Yes, ma'am, we have few queries from the attendees. So there's a question from Vishwas Dutt. He wants to know what kind of practical aspects are involved in this course. What kind of practical aspects are involved in this course? You're not audible. Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
So when we talk of practical aspects, children, we will also teach you how to manufacture. So you will be exposed to the various machines which are involved in the manufacturing of drugs, like tablet making machine, capsule filling machines, and so on, injection filling machines, and so on. So that was the manufacturing part. In the pharmaceutical chemistry, you will be exposed to the various types of reactions. For analysis, you will be exposed to, you will be handling the various uh, instruments which are used for analysis, like you will be taught HPLC to find out the content of the drug, UV, IR, and so on. And then for the preclinical part, you will be handling the animals, of course. You will be handling the mice, the rats, the rabbits, and so on. And for the pharmacy practice, you will be going to Christian Medical College at Ludhiana for at least 2 days a week. You will be interacting with the patients there, you will be interacting with the doctors there. So that's it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So now we'll quickly move to our admission expert, Mr. Pankaj Vij. Over to you, sir, for the admission, scholarship, and eligibility part of the university.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Talking about the eligibility fee and other aspects of the programs that we were talking about, the masters in the pharmaceutical science programs. So in order to know these basic aspects, I'll just take you to the website, and the attendees can follow the path that I'm going to show, and that path will lead you to the eligibilities, to the fee structures, and so on and so forth when it comes to the various masters program in the pharmaceutical science. So to start off with, all you need to do is log on to our official website, that's lpu.in. After logging on to lpu.in, a student needs to go to admissions. In admissions, we have got area of programs, which are after 12th programs. We have after graduation programs, and so on. So if we have to know about the M pharmacy program, we need to go after to the after graduation program and then to the regular program. So I just click it over here, and the page takes me to the next page, wherein it will show all the disciplines that we are running when it comes to the master's programs. We are concentrating on pharmaceutical sciences today, so I just click on pharmaceutical sciences over here, and it shows me the various branches of M pharmacy that we are offering. Like we are offering 5 branches of M pharmacy, which is M pharmacy pharmaceutical analysis, M pharmacy pharmaceutics, pharmacology, pharma practice, and pharmaceutical chemistry. Let's take an example that I want to know something about M pharmacy pharmaceutics. So I just click it over here, and I just scroll a little bit down, and I get to know the eligibility of the program. So this is the eligibility criteria of the program, and the eligibility says pass with 60% marks in aggregate in B.Ed Pharmacy approved by PCI, Pharmacy Council of India, or equivalent, subject to qualifying LPU Nest or GPAT. So a student who is willing to take admission in the M Pharmacy program needs to have 60% marks in B Pharmacy from a PCI approved institution, and thereafter the student needs to appear for R exam, which is LPU Nest, or a student can also qualify GPAT. So either of the two are applicable. So it's a prerequisite that anybody wants to take admission in the M Pharmacy, say Pharmaceutics program. All M pharmacies have the same eligibility criteria. So the prerequisite is that you have to write an exam. It could be R exam, which is lovely professional university national entrance and scholarship test, or a student can appear for the GPAT exam. So that's what the eligibility criteria is all about. Then I move on to the fee structure. If you want to know about the fee structure, at the top of the screen there's a slider which says fee. So I just click it over here on the fee part. The page takes me to the fee structure of the program, and there we go. So the fee structure of the program is 1,20,000 per semester. That's the base fees, but there are a lot of scholarships that we are offering on this program. For example, if somebody has 80 to 89.99% of marks in 12th, or 70 to 79.99% of marks in graduation, or is student is amongst our category 3 of our LPU Nest exam, there's a 20% scholarship, and the fee goes down to 96,000 per semester. Similarly, somebody has got 90 to 94.99% of marks in 12th, or 80 to 89.99 in graduation, which is B Pharmacy, or a student is category 2 of our LPU Nest exam, there's a 30% scholarship. Fee goes down to 84,000 per semester. Similarly, if a student has got 95 or above in case of 12, or 90 or above in case of graduation, or is amongst the category 1 of our LPU Nest exam, there's a 40% scholarship. So the slab is 20, 30 and 40% scholarship. It is worth mentioning, my dear attendees over here, that these scholarships, what you're seeing on the screen, once administered to a student, shall remain the same way for the next 2 years. So whatever scholarship is administered to you, given to you, or you get a scholarship, it will be applicable for the next 2 years, that is during the course of your M Pharmacy program. I want to know what are the other programs, what are the other scholarships that are being offered in the M Pharmacy program. I go to the next tab, which is scholarships. I click it over here, and it takes me to the page which or to the area where it gives me the comprehensive knowledge of various scholarships. We have seen scholarships on the basis of previous 2 qualifications, that is graduation and 12th. We have seen scholarship on the basis of LPU Nest, which is category 3, category 2, category 1. Now, if you have appeared for the GPAT exam, we have got scholarships on the basis of GPAT as well. I just click it over here on the GPAT, and I just scroll a little bit down. So if a student has got a GPAT rank of 2001 to 5000, once again, the base scholarship, that is 20%. If somebody has 1001 to 2000, 30%. And if it is top 1000, then 40% scholarship. So either ways, a student can get scholarship on the basis of previous 2 qualifications, LPU Nest exam, or the GPAT exam. So the scholarship is applicable for all the 3 parameters. Similarly, there are some other scholarships that are applicable. For example, somebody has done something really good in innovation, startups, entrepreneurship. You have excelled in that particular field, then there's a scholarship as well on this particular event or this particular category. You can just log on to this link and you get to know precise details of the scholarships based on this criteria. And last but not the least, we have got scholarships on the basis of people who are in the defense. For example, some students father or mother is working with the Central Armed Forces, paramilitary, military forces, then there's a scholarship for such students as well. It's more of a financial aid that we are offering to the students. So a gambit of scholarships that we are offering to students. and these scholarships can be availed by the students. And the prerequisite is that you need to appear for our LP Nest exam, and please do register for the LP Nest exam and appear for the exam, as the last date for the exam to fill up the exam is 25th of May. You want to call us, you want to talk to us, you want to speak to our counselors, you're most welcome to call us. Our helpline numbers, for example, the number for the helpline admissions is 01824 506 100. That's our admission helpline. You can always write to us on admissions@lpu.co.in. That's our admissions email ID for your written queries, for your verbal queries. That's the number that we have got, the phone number, these phone numbers. You can call us on these numbers, and you can always visit us on lpu.in. So these are the contact details. You can take a snapshot of it, or you can just go to our website, contact us, and these details would be appearing over there. I guess that's all from my side. Back to you, Rubina.
Thank you, sir, for the detailed information about the admission process. Now, attendees, good things come to people who wait, but better things come to those who go out and get them. So don't sit back and relax. Grab this opportunity to take admission in your preferred courses and get early decision benefits. So thank you, everyone. This webinar was on limitless opportunities after COVID, post-graduation in pharmaceutical sciences at LPU. And experts, thank you so much. Your years of research, your depth of understanding the topic, and your ability to present the topic in such an interesting way produced one of the most wonderful afternoons for all the attendees. So on behalf of all the attendees of this webinar, I want to thank you for your insightful presentation. Hopefully, attendees found this webinar to be valuable and will be able to utilize this information provided to take better decisions regarding admission. So attendees, I enjoyed bringing this session to you. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much. Until next time, I, Ruby Gill, sign off. Thank you.